According to the most recent data, nearly 80% of the American millionaires say they are self-made. That means most millionaires didn't receive it, they built it. And a huge part of that success comes down to habit. Daily, intentional actions repeated over time. When I started applying these same habits to my own life, everything began to shift. I saved $100,000, traveling the world around, and now I have the freedom to pursue my own goals, like building content on social media. And maybe even more important, I'm no longer wasting my time or energy on the wrong things. In this video, I will share the habits that changed my life and how you can apply them in your own. Let's get into it. Habit number 1, great minds. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, said by Jim Rohn. I wanted to know if there was an actual proof behind that idea, and I came across a study that honestly blew me away. A large-scale study published in the British Medical Journal found that happiness spreads to social networks. If a friend of yours is happy, your chance of being happy go up by 15 to 25%. If a friend of yours is happy, someone you don't even know, your chances still go up by 10%. That influence runs 3 layers deep. And that means if you spend your time around people who complain, makes excuses, or lack direction, there is a strong chance you will unconsciously start reflecting that behavior. That's why I became intentional about my environment. I distanced myself from people who constantly said things like, that is not realistic, or why would you even try that? Instead, I started putting myself around people who think long term, who are driven, who already live the life I want to live. Since doing that, I have grown, not just financially, but also mentally. Your environment shapes your future. Be as selective with your circle as you are with your investments. Habit number 2, comfort zone. I have never talked about this on here, but the moment I had truly to leave my comfort zone was when I finally decided to start my YouTube channel. And I will be honest with you, I was terrified. I wanted to do this for years, but I kept delaying it, not because I didn't have ideas, but because I was afraid of what people around me would think. And when I finally posted that first video, I got exactly what I was afraid of. I heard things, people laughed, talked behind my back, and like I was embarrassing myself. But deep down, I knew this is exactly why most people don't do this. I reminded myself when things get hard, that's where most people stop, and that alone became my motivation. I don't want to live like the average person. If I want above average results, I need to be willing to do what most people don't. That mindset, inspired by how self-made millionaires think, helped me push straight to the fear. And since then, YouTube has brought me structure, discipline, and most importantly, freedom. It taught me to care less about what other people think and more about what I want for my life. And the more I do that, the more peace I feel and the more progress I make. You're going to be judged anyway. You might as well be judged for the things what matters to you. Growth begins outside your comfort zone. Habit number 3, delayed gratification. One of the most important things that helped me, even from a young age, was practicing delayed gratification. The ability to say no for what I want now in order to live how I really want later on. Delayed gratification builds discipline. It teaches you to hold back from quick desires. It prioritizes long-term vision over short-term impulse. Because here's the truth, nothing in life is handed to you. If you want real results, you have to work hard for them. Even becoming a millionaire doesn't mean you can start living wild. Making the million might not be even the hardest part, but keeping it is even harder. And FOMO is one of the quickest ways to lose everything. Social media feeds that fear of missing out without realizing it. You start spending money and energy just to keep up. I chose not to play that game. For example, when I'm driving, I do not listen to music. I listen to audiobook. And the last one I was finished was from Unscripted by MJ DeMarco. When you start your day with that kind of energy, hearing how free-thinking people live, you begin to see the world differently. I don't see people flexing cars and designing clothes as goals. I see someone who is a slave to their desire, someone who is driven by external validation, not internal direction. Choosing to ignore FOMO is what allowed me to get ahead of most people of my age, and even beyond my own community and family, because I chose to build something and not just to feel something. There is a quote from Think and Grow Rich that stuck with me. Weak desires bring weak results, just as small fire makes a small amount of heat. I'm not making sacrifices, I'm making investments. Most people chase comfort, winners choose character. Habit number 4, the millionaire pyramid. The closer you get to the top, the fewer people you will find. In behavioral science, there is a concept called the effort-reward gap. The idea that the bigger the reward, the fewer people are willing to do what it takes to earn it. In other words, the harder it gets, the smaller the crowd. Not because people aren't capable, but because they are giving up. If you picture success as a pyramid, you will see that the bottom is white. Everyone wants more. Everyone says they want freedom. Once discipline is required, most people quit. Most people see challenges as a sign to stop, but in reality, obstacles are proof that you're on the right path. Everyone who chooses to keep going when it gets hard creates distance, not because they are better, but because they refuse to quit. Success rarely goes to the smartest or the fastest. It goes to the one who keeps walking after others sit down. If it's getting harder, that doesn't mean it's time to stop. It means you're rising. Keep going. The top is quieter, but also more valuable. Habit number 5, focus on solutions. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better, by Jim Rohn. A Stanford study found that people who view problems as challenges rather than threats develop more resilience and get faster results. They activate different parts of the brain focused on creativity and action, not stress and fear. In other words, how you think determines what you do. Successful people don't live without problems. They win because they don't stay stuck in them. In Unscripted, MJ DeMarco calls this the control shift. Don't complain about a system, build your own lane. Don't list all the reasons why something won't work. Ask yourself, how do I make this work? Personally, I have trained myself to respond with action. I ask, what is the smallest next step I can take right now? Or if someone else had to solve this, what would they do? That mindset keeps me from wasting time on frustration and pushes me to keep building even when it's messy. Problems don't stop your progress. Staying stuck does. Think like a builder and not a victim. Habit number 6, strategic silence. You can't steer the ship if you never leave the engine room. Bill Gates is known for taking an annual Think Week, an intentional break away from everything. No meetings, no calls, no emails, just reading, reflecting, and thinking. He once said, Think Week is when I step outside the noise and zoom out on everything. And that's exactly what most people never do. They grind every day, but never stop to ask, am I headed in the right direction? Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. I have doing my own version of this. One full day every month with no distraction. I turn off my phone, step away from work, and sit down with my thoughts. I read and I write and I ask myself real questions. And every time I do this, I walk away with a sharper focus and more confidence in my direction. Silence is a pause, it's a positioning. In a world that screams, those who learn to listen win. If you want to know more how many Americans have said 1 million, watch this video.